In this video, I'll show you how our client Shannon reversed her prediabetes while eating carbs, lost 18 pounds, and regained her energy. Shannon was one of our clients who was doing everything right, but her blood sugar, her A1C, her weight still wouldn't come down. She had prediabetes with the A1C of 6.1. She had fasting blood sugar readings in the 130s. Bigger spikes after the meals going into the 180s, especially when she was eating carbs. And this was especially the case when she was socializing. And she really hadn't seen progress in 5 years. And this was despite eating pro-metabolic and doing home cooked meals and eating very clean. This was getting in daily sunlight. This was taking breaks during the middle of the day. This was walking after meals. This was strength training, taking mineral supplements, taking hormonal medications, having a regular sleep schedule, like doing all the things right, but still not seeing the progress that she was wanting. And how frustrating, how aggravating is it when you're in that space, right? But the thing with Shannon is she had that belief that she could. She was just missing a few pieces, and that's when we started to work with her. I'm Isaac Pullman. I'm a registered dietitian and a fellow person with type 1 diabetes, and I am the CEO of the Pullman Institute, where we help clients stabilize their blood sugar for good while eating carbs and without relying on medications to do so. If you are ready to do just that, all you have to do is comment or message me interest, and we'll show you how. And for Shannon, she actually started working with us inside of our one-off program called the Pullman Protocol, where you get one consult with our team and lab review. And then for a lot of these clients, when we recognize that there is a need for ongoing coaching support and they're wanting support with things that we talk about within that one-off consult, we just transition them directly into our one-to-one coaching program. And that's what Shannon did. And so here's what we did to really help Shannon turn things around so that her efforts were really reflecting in her results finally. Many times we think about we're missing a method or missing steps, but this is true in life, it's true in health, it's true in business, it's all the same. We have to ask ourselves, who is the type of person that we need to become to get that result, right? Not necessarily changing who we are, their core, but rather who do we need to be to get that result? What do we need to change within our own life to get that result? Because at the end of the day, all that we are is a product of our environment, our habits, our behaviors. And some of those align with the result that we want, and some of those don't. And many times when we're in coaching, we need those things pointed out to us, right? We need help with identifying those areas and the exact steps that we need to address those. But that doesn't start until we ask the question of who do we need to become to get that result. And so for Shannon, it wasn't just learning more information, right? She was already smart. She already had a lot of things under her belt, but rather it was looking at what type of person do I need to become to get that result. And so the first thing that Shannon did was she not only implemented the process that we talk about, but she really embodied it. What does that mean? She was fully coachable. She followed the process exactly as we laid it out. She didn't second guess anything. She didn't try to change anything, right? And then she was focusing on what was going well. She didn't focus in on what wasn't going well when she had plenty to do so with, right? A1C not in the right range, blood sugar not in the right range, blood sugar spiking with carbs, blood sugar spiking with stress, feeling fatigued, not able to exercise as much as she'd like to, family conflicts going on, right? We all have plenty of things that we could point to say, hey, this is the reason why we're not getting to where we want to go. But instead, she focused in on what was going well with her life, because ultimately what that does is it helps to lower stress on the body, which in turn helps to improve blood sugar, right? So it's not just like this makes for a more peaceful life, but it also directly improves your blood sugar. And every time that Shannon met with us, she had something positive to share. Even without us prompting her to do so, she was always focusing on what was going well because she recognized that was a crucial piece of what she was missing. And this was especially the case when her numbers were not responding. It's easy to do this when things are going well, but it's harder to do it when things are not, and yet you're still staying positive. And when you have that mindset, it's only inevitable that you're going to get to where you want to go with your health and your blood sugar. And number two, she stayed consistent even during stressful, busy days. She didn't let stress, weather, busyness get in the way of her supporting her own body, right? And it's so easy to do that. We have so many things that could get in the way, especially when you're as busy as Shannon was, having a business, having lots of kids at home, and being a mother, right? All of those things could have gotten in the way, but she decided that, hey, in order to fulfill those roles and responsibilities that I have, I need to be at my peak. I need to feel my best. And so she had that selfishness, that good selfishness to say, hey, I need to take care of myself before I venture into taking care of anybody else. And so she did a lot of the little things right. She checked in on time every week. She reached out with extra questions when she needed to. And her habits stayed consistent even during the weeks where she wasn't seeing progress from her efforts. A lot of times, whether we realize it or not, when we're not getting the result that we want, we tend to back off a little bit because we're saying to ourselves, hey, we're doing this thing and we've been doing this thing for so long and it's not leading to the result that we want. And, there's nuance with that. I understand too, because if we have the totally wrong plan and we're not seeing results month after month, like that is something, right? That is where we may need to change the plan. But she was seeing consistent results. She was seeing progress, but there can be days, there can be weeks where things regress. And it's not to say that you're having a setback. This is just what comes with the healing journey, right? It's a little bit of up and down until we get to where we want to be. And it's not freaking out about those moments. It's about working through them and staying consistent, because what's on the other side of that is where you want to be. And then number 3, she trusted the process instead of chasing more and more and more. She didn't try to do a bunch of extra things. She only focused on what we were covering each session, right? And so many of us do that. We're like, hey, we have this issue and we need to be doing more and we need to be doing more, right? More isn't better. And I say this to all of our clients too. The approach that you take with this is just as important as the result that you want to get. What does that mean? That means if we're taking an approach that is stressful, that we're making decisions out of fear because we're not getting the results that we want, that we're chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing, doing more and more and more, what that inevitably does is it adds a huge to-do list. And that to-do list becomes so long that it becomes more stressful than beneficial. Just because they're healthy habits don't mean that those are the things that you should be working on right this second. What we like to say to our clients is, let's make the least amount of change possible while getting the most results possible. When we can do that, that approach becomes way less stressful. We're working on highly leveraged moves, meaning the moves that we're making, the time that we're putting into supporting our health, those moves lead to really big results instead of little things that take a lot of our time but don't move the needle at all. The other piece of that was more mental, because instead of like cutting out carbs when her blood sugar spiked or stewing in the frustration of that, she brought it up. We worked through it mentally, and then it didn't become a fixation at that point. When we're holding on to all those frustrations, that creates more and more and more stress, right? Think about a bottle that we squeeze air into and we tighten and tighten and tighten until the top pops off, right? Well, that's essentially what a lot of people with blood sugar challenges, they're holding on to so much. And that becomes the value of coaching in itself, where we can work through these frustrations, we don't hold on to it, and then in turn, it doesn't end up impacting our blood sugar. It doesn't lead to us spinning our wheels. We work through it. And that's one of the most underrated things that there is, because there's going to be frustrations along the way. There's going to be challenges. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's any of the testimonials that you see with our clients. They have all had challenges. They have all had frustrations. It's par for the course. We minimize that as much as we can, but in order to get on the other side, we need to work through those. And especially mentally, when we're going through it, not make those things mean anything about us, not make it, hey, we're not seeing progress, but more so, how can we tune into what's going well? How can we not ignore what's not going well? Like make adjustments if needed, but continue on the course. So over time, we get less and less of those experiences and more of the wins, which just takes place the more that you're in this process. And as a result, Shannon dropped her A1C from a 6.1 to a 5.2. She lowered her fasting reading by 30 plus points and stopped spiking her blood sugar after eating carbs. She lost 18 pounds after not being able to lose a pound for 5 years. She regained her energy to exercise again. She started sleeping through the night all the way fully. She got off of her hormonal medications. She normalized her blood pressure and got rid of her seasonal allergies and low back pain. So talk about progress. She did all of that within the time that we had coaching together. The reason I didn't talk about the exact steps that we got to this point is because we do that in a lot of videos, and I think that can be very valuable, and we can take pieces of that, take pieces of Shannon's journey, for example, and apply it to us. But this is a piece that I don't often talk about, and it's truly what makes the difference between you getting to where you want to go and not, right? It's not a product of you being lazy or not caring about your health or any of those types of misconceptions and stereotypes that exist with high blood sugar or weight issues, right? It's primarily who do we need to become in terms of mindset, in terms of the way that we take actions, the way that we view ourselves, the way that we let challenges mean something or not mean something, the way that we think positively about our situation. It boils down a lot to that. And that's truly what made Shannon successful, because it wasn't necessarily a huge knowledge gap. There were things, of course, that we were teaching along the way that were filling in the gaps, of course, and she did learn new things. But what was also important was the way that she approached this differently, who she was becoming in this process compared to maybe other experiences before. And this is truly what makes the difference between you spinning your wheels and getting to where you want to be, is the person that you need to be to have that result. For some people it might sound a little bit woo-woo. For some others, it's not directly, oh, these are the steps I need to take. But I promise you, if you have this mindset, if you have this ability to incorporate, to be determined, even when, and especially when the result is not there, and you're recognizing those small wins along the way, you'll get to where you want to be. It's only a matter of time. And oftentimes it just takes, what are the missing pieces that I need to address for me? And that's what Shannon did when she hired our team. And if you want to do that just like Shannon, where you're wanting to reverse your high blood sugar while eating carbs without relying on medication, just comment or message me the word interest and we'll show you how.